check. Check. I think we're good. Welcome to the stream. Apologize for the mess of I think I hit live on another video somehow and it made me go live. I had to go delete that. Beta was the first one in the building. What's up, Beta? Listen, I am Beta. I am Khabib with the skill, but I'm also I'm Khabib with the skill, but I'm the opposite of Dana White as far as promoting Beta. I mean, what an abysmal attempt at trying to promote a live stream, right? So we're doing 2 live streams a day on Monday. Snipey in the building. Torin says, "What up, DC? What's up, Torin? Welcome to the stream." We're doing two live streams on Monday, and it's been going great, man. So thank you for everybody that popped up in the morning. By the way, we had like almost 20 likes for the live stream this morning. And what does YouTube do to me again? If you go check that video out now, it has a total of, drum roll, 2 thumbs up. So why they do that to me, I still wouldn't be able to explain it to you. I'm not sure why that keeps happening, but we're gonna keep rocking out, I guess, and just keep doing what we do. I'm not sure exactly why that is, and I'm not sure exactly why my camera looks a little bit strange, I think. Nonetheless, that doesn't matter. Let's get right into some UFC talk. We had a great conversation this morning, by the way, about the future of Sterling, Sean O'Malley. We saw that Sterling hit us up on Instagram, which was pretty cool. And there's plenty to talk about. We got voicemails as well too, so I'll make sure I go back and play it in a second. So cool. But to me, and Beta, you're gonna like what I was thinking. Listen, let me just say, maybe capitalism is a problem of why we're seeing things that are happening in the UFC happen. Or whatever that's worth. Maybe you could figure it out without me explaining. Maybe I'll get to it. Maybe I won't. But just keep that in the back of your mental. I know you're on the Wi-Fi right now, so you've been messing me up with the Allende, Salvador Allende talk, and then now Gaddafi I gotta look into. But nonetheless, I was thinking, and I was thinking at first, then I started looking up some articles. the UFC rankings, guys. Let's get right into it. Does it really mean anything? Does it hold any significance, any value, any does it hold any merit? Is it something that we could rely on? Is it kind of like something we look and glance over but we don't take serious? How do we exactly approach that is the rankings? Sorry, I'm just trying to how do we approach the rankings and how do we view it? And I started looking up, I specifically just Googled, do the UFC rankings matter? And the first thing that came up, which made a great point that was kind of adding on to what I already believed, is it mentioned Jorge Masvidal on his return fight against Gilbert Burns. Jorge Masvidal was what, 2-2 in his last 4 before fighting Gilbert Burns. So he got 3 in a row. Then he lost 1, 2, 3. He lost 3 fights. So he was 3-3 in his last 6. And it's crazy to think about. And I'm gonna make a whole point on this. So come along with me on this journey of talking about rankings, the UFC, capitalism, even maybe, and the problems that it holds. And I'm a capitalist by nature, I think. But Jorge Masvidal was 3-3 before fighting Gilbert Burns on April 8th. And when you look at the welterweight division, I mean, he doesn't hold a name there anymore. He's since retired. And he was fighting Gilbert Burns. Him being 3-3, think about this for a second, with the history, and not his fault that he's a good promoter of thyself, that Masvidal has put in the blood, sweat, and tears. He has over 50 fights, 52 to be exact. Maybe he deserved, I don't know, a gift. Maybe he deserved some leniency. Does the UFC rankings matter? Is the poll question for today. But just think about this a bit. This is something I found in an article before, kind of going through each division and thinking to myself, how do we rate the rankings and what should it mean? And Windy City in the building. What's up, Windy? Welcome to the stream. The man, the myth, the legend. Appreciate you, bro, for always supporting, for always coming through. We've been having good talks. We had a Monday morning podcast, but we're doing Monday morning and Monday evening, 11 a.m. on Monday morning and 8 p.m. on Monday evening Eastern time, for those that are wondering. So back to the topic, he was 3-3 before fighting Gilbert Burns. And the ironic thing is that, of course, he lost to Gilbert Burns. But hypothetical, what if he would have won? It's... I don't know if we're abusing the seriousness of this. LaCroix has been keeping me alive. But think about Masvidal. If he would have beat Gilbert Burns, he may have even been skipped over Colby Covington, who's number 2 in the rankings, and we'll talk about in a short minute. We would have found a 3-3 Jorge Masvidal fighting for the title after losing to Kamaru Usman, the former champion, Colby Covington, the former contender, and then maybe beating Gilbert Burns would have been just enough to get him over the hump and to fight for the title. And it made me think of, wow, that's crazy to think about. The only reason he would have got the shot was because he has a big name behind him. But then what are the rankings for? We look then at Colby Covington, and we got a voicemail to play in a second. We look at Colby Covington and look at his record. The last win besides the Masvidal fight was back in 2020 of September when Tyron Woodley was still in the UFC. Then he loses to Kamaru Usman, close fight nonetheless, but he loses to him twice. Even though the referees decided it unanimous. And his only previous win was Masvidal in 2022. Besides that, a Tyron Woodley in 2020. And then prior to that, a Robbie Lawler, who was probably even over the hill back in 2019. Even so. So again, does the rankings matter? Then we go to the middleweight division. And maybe we can do this even all day. Brooklyn Buff, welcome to the stream, man. Thank you so much for coming through. If the rankings matter, one would fight either the champ or number two. Right. 100% agree, Snipey, because going down the line, it was supposed to be Dricus. And maybe this is where capitalism plays a part. It was supposed to be Dricus. What's up, Hito? Welcome to the stream, my guy, the land of myth, the legend. The guy that I teach everything concerning MMA. Sean Strickland, we go to him. We're going to open like 17 tabs to prove a point maybe, and that's okay. Sean Strickland, 27-5. He loses to Jared Cannonier. Impressive win against Imavov in a unanimous decision. And then Magomedov, who after round one had nothing in the tank, but he loses to not only Alex Pereira, but also to Jared Cannonier, who's a number 3 ranked fighter. And now Sean Strickland finds himself fighting for the title after beating a Magomedov. When maybe it's Duplessis' shot, or it's supposed to be. Why doesn't Dricus get the shot? Well, simply because he didn't want to take the fight in December. He needed a little bit of time to heal up against Robert Whittaker, but he did beat Robert Whittaker to make himself the number 1 contender. He beats Robert Whittaker, but because the UFC and I don't know even who you blame more, Adesanya or the UFC, because Adesanya and the UFC don't want to wait because they got to make that money before the fourth quarter of 2023. We get an underwhelming Sean Strickland. Now, again, Sean Strickland is getting the shot not because anyone believes that he can win. Most people don't. If he pulls it off, maybe we'll be biting our words, but the only reason he's getting a shot is because of the only reason Masvidal would have got a shot if he beat Gilbert Burns, is because of the name value. And there's nothing wrong with making a name for yourself. If you want to essentially shoot up the rankings, the best service you could do besides winning fights is making yourself relevant outside of the octagon, right? But because they can't wait for Duplessis an extra 1 or 2 months, the person that gets the shot is Sean Strickland. So we see it in the welterweight division where Colby Covington essentially doesn't deserve a shot, but he gets it. Dricus Duplessis deserves a shot, but he skipped over, even though he beat Robert Whittaker, who no one expected him to beat. Beats him by knockout in the second round, defied the odds, and instead we get Sean Strickland because Robert Whittaker lost. Cannonier, no one wants to see that fight again, and I agree. Vettori, we don't want to see that fight again, and I agree. So I guess all there is left is what? Sean Strickland? I understand. But does the fighter that finds himself in the top of the rankings and has won fights, does Dricus have a say? Should he have a say on saying, you know what, give me 1 or 2 extra months? Or does the powerhouse, the machine that is the UFC, are they the ones that make the final decision? And how do we expect to take them serious if the rankings, in a sense, don't mean anything? Now, Pereira beat Jan Blachowicz. You go to the light heavyweight division, and it appears he's going to get a shot against Jiri Prochazka because Jamal Hill hurt himself in a basketball game. It just seems like, to me, there is no telling who gets a shot next. Oliveira gets a shot after what? After a loss against Islam Makhachev? Maybe we could have gave it to Gaethje instead, but he just came out of a fight against Poirier. But nonetheless, we're going to get Oliveira. Why? Because he's a big name, probably the biggest name in Brazil, so he gets a shot. But again, my question to you guys, I was just thinking, I look over these rankings all the time, try to match make myself, try to have a good time, a little fun, but I just feel like back then, even though we've seen this before, I'm not saying that they haven't made exceptions before, but now, so more than ever, the UFC has become less serious in how they approach, on how they determine who gets a shot next. And now it has become, or it is at least becoming, more of a popularity contest, is what it seems like to me.
You need people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers.
Am I mistaken? If I'm incorrect in my assessment, in my judgment, you guys can call in at 267-545-8096. Don't want to prolong it any further. Let's get to our first voicemail. We have 3 of them this beautiful Monday evening. So thank you for all those that have called and shared their thoughts. Shall we get to the very next caller, or the very first caller of the night? Let's get right to it. The 3-minute voicemail. Let's see what goods we have here. Before I play it, let me just catch up with chat real quick. I still can't believe Rob lost that fight. Me too. And even he was so bad, it was out of character. He got hurt with a jab. People have questioned his chin before. Nonetheless, it is drumroll Sean Strickland that gets a shot. Can we somehow make any sense of it? 267-545-8096. Do the rankings matter in the UFC anymore? I can't have Sean Strickland 1. I need DDP to be the king of Africa, says Hito. And it's not like Dricus hasn't made a name for himself. If Dricus was essentially Umar Nurmagomedov of the middleweight division where nobody really knows him, but he's really good, I can maybe understand why you skip him over. But with their prior history, they couldn't just wait a month or 2 just to let Dricus heal. And you hear Israel Adesanya's coach saying, oh, well, he's just going to have to fight someone else. Like, this guy just beat the number 1 ranked contender in the middleweight division, and he skipped over because he can't heal up quick enough. It's quite interesting. Strickland said he isn't going to wrestle Izzy. I saw that as well too, which if he believed his pathway to victory is by striking back and forth with Adesanya, look how that worked out for Paulo Costa or for essentially anyone else in the division. Hi there, Gun Tree City. I'm gonna say GT City. Welcome to the stream, man. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, Hollywood bought the UFC, and now it's a lot more dramatic, and that could have something to do with it as well too. Their links with the WWE, and it almost seems like it's becoming. And again, this is a sport I love, so it sounds like I'm criticizing them as if I have a hidden agenda for them to fail. No, I make content off of them almost purely. So Money Talks, Rankings, Walk. Wow, that's a nice way to put it. I'm gonna start using that phrase, Wendy, so don't be surprised. Thank you for that one. Chris Faye says, sorry, I had to restart my reply because somebody was calling me, but I'm gonna leave a voicemail on you. No worries, man. Let's get to the first voicemail. What's up, Chris? Welcome to the stream. Thank you for always supporting. Guys, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, #1 commentary channel on YouTube. Let's get to the first call of the night.
All right. It's Beta.
Beta Quest in the building. Let's see what he has to say.
We're gonna do this real quick. I know you got plenty of people calling, and even if you don't, I'm number 1. Everybody else sucks. I'm just playing.
Hito does suck.
Let's see.
Chris,
Flyweight.
he's all right.
I think the logical choice is Albazi. He may not have won his
for the
fight
flyweight division.
with.
I said Albazi this morning. I don't know if you heard me and if you stole my my choice because I was going through all the divisions. So I appreciate you stealing my answer, Beta. Let's continue.
High car friends, but that's just the way that the UFC is going to go. Let's be real.
Abu Dhabi, December. Why not go with Amir, right? As far as if you're a business, I guess.
Bantamweight.
He's going to go through all the divisions. Shout out to my man, Beta. I like it. Let's go.
No, Sterling isn't going to get the rematch. And even though every other champion probably would, and everybody else is either out or on a loss. So, Cheeto Vera for Sean O'Malley.
It's crazy because Aljamain Sterling came out with a 36-minute video. I saw it today, the whole thing, while I was going out for a run, cutting weight, as if I'm a fighter as well, too, because Hito wants to make bets and believe he can win. I was listening to Aljamain Sterling for a full 36 minutes, and it was he didn't give no excuses. Again, he just kind of relayed the message of, what went on in his mind and how he feels better than ever after the fight. But he says, if I don't get the immediate rematch, so he's almost understanding that he might not get the shot because that might just be the path that the UFC wants to go. They want to go elsewhere, and he's understanding. The problem that I had with what Aljamain Sterling said, it was like, no one is more deserving than Merab. maybe he doesn't get it either, that it doesn't matter if Merab is the most deserving, because again, back to what I was saying, do the UFC rankings matter anymore? Let's see what Beta has to say about the bantamweight division. He does say it's Chito Vera. So let's rewind a little bit and see what else he has to say.
And everybody else is either out or on a loss.
Right, Corey Sandhagen needs some time. He just went through surgery. Who else was it as far as the bantamweight division? It was, I think Cejudo needed some time as well too. Piotr Jan, I actually don't know exactly what's going on with Piotr Jan, but it does seem like it might be Chito Vera next. Is there any chance, by the way, before we continue with the voicemails, if someone could answer me in chat, is there any chance that Merab gets it? Let's say hypothetically that Cejudo and Chito Vera are not available. Do you think the UFC is petty enough to not still give the shot to Merab?
So Chito Vera for Sean O'Malley.
I love this, Obeda. Thank you for going through the divisions.
And at featherweight, we have the GOAT.
But they do, Beta, I saw that you said Jan is on a loss, but Jan is on a loss, but it was a controversial decision. Maybe they could sell that. It's almost the same thing as selling the Chito Vera fight, no? Maybe not exactly. Merab is out with an injury, but again, as far as the ranking, shouldn't they give him time to prepare since he's the next one up? Essentially, is my argument from the nucleus, I guess. Oh man, he needs every brain cell he's got, says Beta. Yeah, if he just starts, if he just strikes with him, speaking of Strickland, that's going to be interesting. Snipey says Strickland is a crap person for a lot of reasons, but the way he beats the crap out of his sparring partners is ridiculous. I will never like Strickland. And the crazy thing is he has become a fan favorite, so to speak, Snipey. I got to the target way faster than you. Don't let me expose you. Tomato. Let's get back to it.
Volkanovski should be fighting. I guess it's Topuria. There really isn't any other option. You got beat. Ortega's still out. Allen's on a loss. No one wants to see a fourth Holloway fight. Give it to Topuria.
You have no choice, and it just sucks because I do feel it's going to be early. And mark my words, the experience is going to play in this one. I love Topuria. I picked him to beat Bryce Mitchell. I picked him to beat Allen, and I picked him to climb up the ranks and essentially fight for the title. I just think it's a little too early, but again, they're running out of options, so you're probably right. It's probably going to be Topuria, and he's a big star. He's becoming a big star out of Spain, and I'm sure they want to attack that market as well too. So I agree with you with the Topuria pick.
Screw it. We got Oliveira Makachev coming, and then Gaethje gets the winner. That's an easy one.
That's a no-brainer, absolutely.
Welterweight. This
Look at Beta going through it. Let's go.
is going to be the controversial take. Next in line, we got Oliveira Makachev coming, and then Gaethje gets the winner. That's an easy one. Welterweight. This is going to be the controversial take.
Oh, here we go.
Next in line for the title should be Bilal Muhammad.
Here we go.
You need people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
Let's see if Beta could be the bad guy, but have a point. Here we go.
Because Colby Covington is inactive as fuck and shouldn't get anything for beating, what was he, number 8 in Jorge Masvidal?
He might have been lower than that if someone could refresh my memory. I thought he was like 11 or something like that.
Just talking about it.
So he says Bilal should get the shot. Let's see how he concludes on why so.
Baffles me, takes away every bit of sense that I have in my brain. Doesn't make sense. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. Moving on to middleweight.
He doesn't even, again, it's because do the rankings matter? He says Bilal should get the shot. Kobe, there's no chance in hell that he deserves it, but he gets it nonetheless. Again, popularity contest?
Israel Adesanya.
But I love this, Beta. I appreciate the call. A-Rod in the building. What's good, broski? I remember you called last week. Welcome to the show, man. Glad you can make it Monday evenings. Let's get right back to it.
Strickland makes sense.
Ooh, can they trade Bilal to PFL or something?
Yes,
Man, where's the support for Bilal Muhammad, man? I feel like Wendy's a fan, but besides that, it's been tough for Bilal. Here we go.
It's not like the greatest fight in the world. We all know he's going to get dominated, but you know, weirder things happen, like Sean O'Malley catching Aljamain Sterling and becoming bantamweight champion. But yeah, that makes sense. Dricus du Plessis, ran his mouth, but he got injured. And this happens, and Izzy's kind of an ass, and probably won't give him the fight. He'll probably skip him for Cannonier and then do du Plessis if he wins again.
Is that a little weird, by the way, chat and Beta? Is it weird that Adesanya now doesn't give du Plessis a shot when he earned it? You know, because he beat Robert Whittaker, right, when nobody expected him to. And because of the whole Africa thing that they were having beef with, it seemed like Adesanya wanted him next. He even said it himself. I want Adesanya next. No, it's not you, Windy City. The reason why I confused you is because with a name like Windy City, Chicago, Bilal, you know, I try to put two and two together, but it was actually Borracho Wins that's a big Bilal fan, so I apologize.
Knowing Izzy's petty ass. For the light heavyweight title, what is it? Yuri versus Pereira. I don't hate.
It's not the worst fight, right?
Definitely going to be more entertaining than the Ankalaev Blachowicz fight, so we'll get to that. Heavyweight, Stipe is getting this fight despite a year and a half away from the octagon, outside of the rankings, not doing anything, just thrown in there beautifully with everybody.
It should be, and it cut your voicemail off. I think you left another one only 13 seconds, so that sucks. So I don't know if you want to leave another one, but it should be the White Ngannou that fights John Jones. That being Sergey Pavlovich is who it should be. As far as skill-wise, the up-and-comer in Pavlovich, who has been hot, should fight John Jones. Instead, we're getting a Stipe Miocic, who, again, man, Stipe, he's, to me, over the hill. His best years are behind him. The last time he fought was in March 27 of 2021, and that's coming off a loss. With all that being said, he gets the heavyweight shot. Him being the number 3rd ranked fighter gets a shot before the number 1 ranked fighter again. How in the world does that make sense? How in the world do you justify that? Can you guys justify, if you guys could do it, again, call in 267-545-8096. Can you guys justify Stipe Miocic getting the shot before Pavlovich? Can you guys justify Chito Vera getting the shot? Maybe make it make sense for me. Can you justify Colby getting it before Bilal? Sean Strickland getting it before Dricus? Did I miss anything? I don't think so. How is it? I feel like Jesse in Breaking Bad when he says, you can't let him keep getting away with this. That's what it seems like, right? Thank you, Hito. It seems like they get away with doing whatever they want with no, not even explanation, but with no logic behind it, and they still somehow get away with it.
I don't know where it cut me off. So, Miller, I just wanted to say if we ever saw each other,
here we go. I'm kind of scared to hear what happens next.
I would pick you up and put you on the top shelf just to watch you struggle to get down. Love you, brother.
Wow, after such a nice call, he ruins it with 13 seconds of trash talking. Congratulations to you, Beta, for ruining all of that. No, but I love how you went through every champion. If anybody else wants to call in and share like from the top down what fights should happen next, and also talk a little bit about whether the UFC rankings mean anything, again, 267-545-8096. Yeah, that's weird if Izzy fights Strickland. It's going to happen for UFC 293, A-Rod. It's already signed. It's already on paper. I'd rather see MVP from Bellator fight for the welterweight title over Bilal and Kobe, says Beta. The disrespect, I haven't seen more disrespect for any other fighter than Bilal in this chat, from what I could think of. That's exactly what I said, but it cut me off. Says Beta. I was just about to say the same thing. Snipey. MVP versus Wonderboy would be cool, especially since he's out of contract with Bellator and he was thinking about coming to the UFC. I said coming to the UFC as if I'm a part of it, but nonetheless, yes. That wouldn't be a bad one either. But you guys saw my short that I just came out with today. Stephen Wonderboy wants Kamar Usman. Usman has called out Wonderboy. Maybe that's a match made in heaven. Let's get to the next call. Here we go. 732 number. Let's see who it is.
All right. I don't know if you saw the message I sent you, but
I don't think I did, but here we go. This is Hito609, the man that learns everything from us. Here we go.
Jones and Stipe.
Who wins, Sean O'Malley versus Holloway? I feel like no one asked that question before. That's an interesting topic. We'll get back to that in a little bit. What's up, Chapo? Finesse, welcome to the stream. I'm going to go out on a limb and say at this point in their careers, it depends. What are they fighting at? I guess 145, because Holloway wouldn't be able to make 135. So, nonetheless, let's get to the next call, and maybe we could talk about that if you guys want to discuss that further, but I haven't heard that brought up before.
It's locked in for the November card, so they're locked in for 295. And we know Kobe is not going to fight on the same card as Jones. So that leaves 296 back in question.
I'm sorry, I can't get that comment out of my head real quick. I'll put you on the top shelf just to watch you struggle to get down. The disrespect.
What are we going to do for 296? Can we get a Kobe and Leon Edwards headlining? Maybe throw in Alex Pereira as co-main?
So Leon and Kobe would be the main event above Pereira and Hiri? That's a tough one to think about. I think you're right. I think you would organize it in that way if it was those two fights on a card. Kobe's a massive star. I know people might not like that much.
You need people like me. You need people like me so you can point your finger.
But it's the truth. So I can see that's why he's getting the shot, right?
Or even Volk as a co-main? Or do we do Kobe and Leon and then Sean O'Malley and maybe maybe Vera in there? Kind of changes it up. And then who's going to fight on the card with Jones and Stipe? I think they're going to make that one kind of boring. I think 295 is going to be boring. It's just pretty much going to be Jones and Stipe, and they're going to fill it up with whatever. Nothing like, I'm not saying boring, but not like nothing crazy like what 296 is going to be. I think
they're going to charge $85 to have like a Jones versus Stipe, and then like a freaking Pantoja versus Amir or something like that, which like that to say not many really care about, but something along those lines, and still charge 85 and get away with murder like they always do.
I think we can get like a two big fight banger. Maybe O'Malley fights in the same card as Covington. Imagine the press conference for that. You got O'Malley in the lead up. You got Covington going too. So I don't know. Kind of change this thing up. There's no Jones and Stipe 296, 295. What do you think?
I think the dream card for December, if you can make it happen, and this is granted, this is assuming that Conor McGregor is not going to be ready before 2023, which I subscribe to. I don't think he's going to be fighting that early. From top down, I think the main event, Leon Kobe right under Sean O'Malley and Chito Vera, it almost doesn't get better than that. Maybe you could even throw a Pereira and Jan on that as well. 2-3 title fights near December before the year ends. I can't really, I can't really match it up any better. If you guys have any suggestions as far as the title fights, if we're keeping Jones out of it and Stipe, which I don't really, to be quite honest, I'm not excited for Jones versus Stipe. Stipe, again, his last fight was 2021 and he lost. Why people are excited for this, I couldn't tell you. Why they believe this is a good selling heavyweight title match, I'm not sure. Maybe because Pavlovich doesn't have a name where Stipe somewhat does. But again, for me personally, I don't care for it. So give me Leon and Covington and then Sean O'Malley and Chito Vera. Or I would even argue, give me Sean O'Malley versus Cejudo instead. The more I think about it, the more I like, forget Vera, put Cejudo. I think it sells better than Vera. Then we get to see how Sean O'Malley does against someone that Sterling beat, and if he does it in more impressive fashion. And then that maybe, I don't know, gets it ready for O'Malley versus Sterling rematch or O'Malley versus Vera. Vera could get another win, even though he hasn't looked that impressive in his last 2 fights. So there's multiple avenues to go, but give me Leon and Covington, Sean O'Malley, and Vera or Cejudo on the undercard. I don't think it gets much better than that. Let's catch up with chat. Holloway says, Wendy, that's the thing. Holloway's chin hasn't failed him. And if Sean O'Malley can't get him out of there, maybe Holloway overwhelms him with just pace, kind of like Ferguson-esque, as far as like taking him to deep waters. Holloway dominates O'Malley after taking a lot of punishment in the first 2 rounds. Yeah, maybe it looks good for O'Malley early, and then Holloway pulls away. That line will forever live in your head, run free. O'Malley will get slept if he went against Holloway. Again, Holloway's chin hasn't shown signs of weakness, but he has taken a lot of punishment. There's gonna come a time. I hate to be the negative Nancy, the Debbie Downer, but there's gonna be someone that touches that chin and the switch is gonna go off. That's the problem, right? It's gonna happen. It happened to Ferguson when people couldn't believe it. I'm just saying, Holloway, I don't know what his next path is. He goes up to 155. Maybe he's very comfortable there, but if he stays at featherweight and just keeps fighting these rise and up and coming contenders, he's just kind of doing himself a disservice. What people were saying this morning, I think, is the best option. Just go up and wait. There's plenty of fights for you up there, even though he could also get hurt. Imagine him versus Gaethje and the punishment that he takes there. It gets quite interesting. They're definitely doing a McGregor O'Malley card, no question. If they do, and Conor's not ready in December, what do you do though? Do you put O'Malley on the shelf? Or on the shelf, and all of a sudden I hate the word shelf. Beta, what do you do with O'Malley? Do you make him wait if Conor McGregor is available, let's say February or January? Yeah, because Holloway is a big knockout artist, A-Rod. What did A-Rod say? O'Malley will get slept. Yep. Pillow Fist Holloway says Windy City. Jesus Christ. They literally call him Pillow Fist Holloway. What's going on, Miller? UFC is a new WWE. I find myself tuning into one championship more these days. I want to tune into them more. We did cover a couple cards over there as well, too. I like how they add some grappling matches in between the fight. So, Negative Nancy Bro says, A-Rod, dang, Wendy, you beat me to it. Let's see. One is great. Gotcha, girl. O'Malley wants his get back for the loss on his record. No way he skips Cheeto, even if the Cejudo money is huge. I don't know, man. I've seen O'Malley say Vera doesn't really deserve it. He keeps acting like he deserves a shot. Maybe I want to skip over him. Maybe the Cejudo money is significantly more. I don't know. Conor isn't fighting anymore. What the F that? Listen, people hear that and they're almost disgusted. Let's get to the next caller of the night. Here we go.
All right. I don't know if you saw.
Oh, that's the wrong one. Here we go.
Miller DC, what's up? It's Chris Faith
Chris
again.
Faith in the building. Let's go.
You know, let me
Let's
say
get it.
something.
Here we go.
Say something. Sean Strickland. Okay, you know what? Let me say this. When was the first time he headlined the main event? The answer was actually literally 2 years ago against Uriah Hall, well, former UFC fighter Uriah Hall. I saw that fight. I'm not gonna lie, that fight got me sleeping.
I remember that fight as well too, where Uriah, in a sense, couldn't take any more.
Then his
Kind of punished him.
second main event against Jack Hermanson late last year, that fight got me so sleeping.
Yeah, Sean Strickland, he talks a good game outside of the cage. Not that he's a bad fighter, but his style is essentially boring, in a sense, unless he has the right dance partner. I guess the same with Adesanya. What if this fight is one of the most boring of 2023? It could be recipe for it.
I like the fight out. Hayter knocked him out. Then late last year,
That left hook from freaking out of nowhere that put Sean to sleep.
against Cannonier, fight got me sleeping.
And the Cannonier fight was close. So, I mean, you make a good point. Cannonier, Hermanson, Uriah Hall, not the most entertaining fights from Sean Strickland.
Then earlier this year against that French guy, fight got me sleeping.
Imavov.
Against some random guy I'd never heard of, Abuz Magomedov,
Chris Faith is building up to a point. Maybe just arguing that Sean Strickland isn't the most entertaining fighter, but he finds himself fighting for the title. And it goes back to the title of this video. Do the UFC rankings matter? In a sense, look at Sean Strickland getting a shot where maybe he doesn't essentially deserve it.
Bro, he only did that because Fajita just torched him. I'm not going to lie. Like, he may be a title contender right now, but he's not going to win. He's not.
And most agree with you, Chris, that Sean Strickland isn't going to get the job done. You're not alone in your sentiments.
Not going to win. Trust me, Adesanya will KO him second or third round.
Might be a bet that we have to make.
To be honest with you, I know who Sean Strickland is. I was never a fan of that albino, ugly-ass hillbilly. Like, literally, I don't like Sean Strickland.
You have much company. Snipey is with you. He hates Sean Strickland, or maybe hates a strong word, but he doesn't like him.
Bro, he can talk a lot, but trust me, he think he can fight, but he can only fight in the gym, but he ain't all that of a fighter. Oh, I'm not going to lie. I would imagine if he were to talk shit in front of a guy like Alexander Usyk, I guarantee he wouldn't fight him. That's it.
We have one more, I believe.
I'm hearing your talk with Beta, and I just want to say what's up again, Melody C, and also Beta Quest, what's up? I just want to say, by the way, this is Chris Faith, by the way. So the featherweight division, hear me out.
Oh, let's see the suggestions by Chris Faith. Maybe he has a solution, because I feel like Topuria just doesn't sell me. Before we get to there, though, Izzy KO Sean for sure, like Chris Faith said. Wendy, I guess you're in agreement with him. Beta, where did they announce? You got a point, Snipey. They just announced it officially. There was one pick put out. Are you talking about the Conor McGregor fight? Because it wasn't confirmed. I see other outlets saying it was because Conor said something. Yeah, it wasn't official. Conor put the pick too. He does this when fighters take his attention away. I'm checking my feed, and Snipey might be right. I thought I was. It got many people. Again, he finessed again. But I don't think it was. Nah, I hate him. Says Snipey, my bad. I guess I was correct in my first point. Is there any bigger disappointment than Conor McGregor ever after Mayweather? In the UFC? In general? Is there any bigger disappointment than Conor McGregor ever after Mayweather?
It is true.
I don't know.
Nobody wants
Maybe something that we could talk about. Here we go.
to see a forced fight between Holloway.
Bro, Izzy versus Strickland is a waste of time. It feels that way, man. They should have waited for the Drickus fight. It's going to be a fun press conference, but when fans don't necessarily believe that the opponent has a chance, it's kind of underwhelming. The only time that I could remember that the underdog didn't have a chance and people somewhat still wanted to watch for some odd reason might be Juliana Pena versus Nunes, and that might be just because of their history of trash talking over the years. If someone can answer the question, is there any bigger disappointment than Conor McGregor ever after Mayweather? I mean, listen, the guy who has he beat? Donald Cerrone, I believe is his only one. Then he loses to Poirier twice. It looks like he's on roids a bit. There might not be no one else that's especially the way his career was going after he beat Jose Aldo, but then he loses to Diaz, a few losses to Poirier, to Cerrone. The hype is a little bit gone, in my opinion.
Versus Volkanovski, trust me. I'm one of those people that can say, I do not want to see that neither. Another thing. You want to know something? I don't know when Ortega's going to fight, because something tells me that Ortega, he wants to skip and say, oh, I want to fight for the title, bro. No, bro.
Yeah, no, I feel like if we wonder where has, fighter been, I feel like one of the first ones that always comes up is Brian Ortega. For some reason, we never know what's happening with him, like in between fights, and he takes these long layoffs.
I'm not going to lie.
I mean, the shoulder injury was in the last fight, so maybe that's why he's taking a while.
You know who should fight for the title, even though you guys may or may not like him? And he's currently ranked number 10 in the featherweight division. Besides Ilia Topuria. And he was supposed to fight Topuria late last year, but I don't know why that didn't happen. Oh, yeah, because of injury. The one called Montar Evolos. I think I pronounced the last name right. He's a Russian. Unlike
It just doesn't sell.
Zabit Magomed Sharipov, which he's now gone. Trust me. Monsar, he's the real deal.
He might be just like Umar Nurmagomedov is the real deal at 135, but he just doesn't have a big enough name to actually get the shot, and that's the problem. I feel where you're coming from, but again, when the UFC and the rankings and do they matter, that goes ultimately to my point. If you don't have a name outside of the octagon, it's going to be tough for you to get a shot.
I don't know if you might beat Max Holloway. I don't know about that.
Maybe you build them up by giving them someone like that. You know, Max Holloway has eliminated almost everybody being the gatekeeper, but maybe that's the one that gets it done.
But here's the thing. Like, in order for him to be in a title position, he has to fight Brian Ortega, Yair Rodriguez, or Calvin Kattar. And if those guys turn him down, then they're not worthy to be in the rankings. They're not worthy. Not worthy at all. And also, I'm going to move on to the next one. I'm going to make another call.
Thank you so much, Chris Face, for the call again. Let's catch up. Leroy in the building. What's up, Leroy? Welcome to the stream. Rumor is Ronda Rousey wants to come back for UFC 300. I saw that by... Who was it? I saw it on Instagram. I forget the channel. But I did see that as well too, Hito. That might be... I mean, the women's division could use some help, right? Especially after Nunes retiring. They need some stars. They got Alexa Grasso. It seems she's going to be fighting Shevchenko again. So, and then Zhang is making a name for herself as well, too, in China. So, let's see. But what do you do with Ronda Rousey if she does come back? John Jones is a bigger disappointment. At the end of the day, I don't know if we can say that because he beat Cyril Gane, and even though he's been out the octagon and maybe fighting more outside the octagon, at the end of the day, when it came time to fight for the title, he got the job done. And that's more than what we could say about Conor McGregor. It's just the truth at the end of the day. And that sad-ass performance he put on with Strickland was a huge hype train derailment. After the first round, he was at like 12% charge. Like it was actually kind of embarrassing, right? And I guess that goes to show like there's levels. Leroy in the building. Gotcha Girl says, honestly, Strickland fans are so idiotic. I've seen them saying they don't even care about the fight. They're just looking forward to him winning the press conference. To be honest, like I thought about making a short Gotcha Girl that goes, the only thing Sean Strickland is going to win is the press conference. And for that reason, he's getting the fight and blah, blah, blah. But yes, that's about the only thing he wins. And it's sad when you have to go down he might at least win the press conference, right? Like nobody's talking about him. Like you don't see Cejudo making his videos or anybody saying this is Sean Strickland's path to victory. It essentially is because no one really believes he has a shot. It seems like. Beta Quest says, I've been talking to my coworker about what Holloway to do, and I think I have the solution. He should move to 155 and fight Dustin. That would freaking sell. I'm sure your coworker came up with that instead of you, because that might be a good idea. Thinking about it offhand, Poirier coming off of a loss against Gaethje, a head kick. Holloway coming off a win, but there's not really nothing left for him in the featherweight division. Why not? Two massive stars, two essentially with no direction. If Holloway beats Poirier, he's immediately on top of the rankings, and you can sneak him into title conversations. Maybe him fighting Gaethje if he gets past Poirier has a realistic chance against Poirier. Two massive names with essentially nowhere to go, and maybe that's why their paths collide. I'm surprised I haven't heard that thought before, or that opinion. That might be the way to go for Holloway. Can we think they have fought already, but it was such a long time ago. Why not run it back? Max got dominated, but this was back what? Let's see. Max Holloway record. This was back early. Let's see. 2019? That's a long time ago in a unanimous decision. We might have even covered that fight on this channel. If I remember correctly, Poirier was just landing the more significant shots, even though Holloway stood in there to bang, and he took brutal punishment as well too. But I mean, what do you do? What do you do? And I feel no one is talking about that as well too, Hito. Thug Rose is fighting Saturday. Has she gone on on the bad side of fans after quote unquote underwhelming performances, because against Carlos Esparza it was a split decision, boring fight. It's almost as if no one knows that she's fighting this weekend, but she is. Cyril Gane getting a finish. I think he's gonna get a knockout finish. Leroy, I can see that happening. What time is that, by the way, too, as far as what time this event starts? Give me like an early fight. Asking you shall receive. That's at 3 p.m. And Saturday, am I doing anything? I don't know. We might be able to cover that. I feel like I say I don't know what I'm doing. Then the wife tells me, remember I told you we had this. But the card is a little bit underwhelming though. But Cyril Gane versus Spivak, I might want to see that just to hang out with the chat. It's even worse going back and forth with Sean fans. They really believe Sean earned his title shot, as if Adesanya didn't bless him when he easily could have waited for Dricus. This is my question to you. Should he have waited for Dricus? Should he have waited for Dricus? Because that was a fight to make, with the whole, not to make it about an abused topic that shouldn't be used over and over again, but their history on who really is the king of their nation. Dricus actually beating Whitaker in a dominant fashion as far as by knockout. Sean Strickland not having the most exciting performances. Dricus at the end of the day earned it. They looked at each other in the octagon where Adesanya was calling them the N-word back to back to back to back. There was hype behind that fight. And instead you go and, you hang left and you take another fight in Sean Strickland. It's just, is it really Adesanya that wants to do that? Or is it that the UFC said, hey, Dricus, you can't recover in time. We need to make some money before 2023, as if we haven't had record-breaking numbers financially. So we can get away with signing up Sean Strickland versus Adesanya fight because the press conference sells, I guess. Maybe that was the path or the thought process of how that worked out. I don't know. But believing that Sean Strickland, let's see the early odds as well too. Strickland versus Adesanya, early odds. Let's guess before I even look at it. I'm gonna say it's like a minus 350 for Adesanya, plus 275 for Strickland. No, it might even be higher. Let's see. Adesanya is a minus 460, and Strickland is a plus 380 underdog. That sounds about right. And even with the value, you bet $100 to win 380. I would not bet that kind of money. It might even be worth betting 460 to win $100 on Adesanya, because that's how much I believe that that Strickland doesn't have a chance. Frank Burke says, hang in there. You will grow if you keep up the cool content. Stay strong. Appreciate you, Frank Burke. Welcome to the stream. I see where Izzy is coming from. Fighters get paid to fight, and he needs those 4 checks a year. But I mean, why not wait for Dricus? Do we really need to see a Strickland fight? What happens if Strickland wins hypothetically? If Strickland wins hypothetically, maybe Adesanya gets the service that Sterling deserves. Maybe Adesanya gets the immediate rematch. What if it's a lucky punch or a well-timed punch that lands big and Adesanya's hurt and Strickland wins by knockout? I can see the UFC saying, let's give Adesanya a shot again. It'll sell well in a rematch. I don't know if the initial pay-per-view numbers for that fight will do well, but I think it does quite well in a rematch. But again, if Strickland wins, just can't see it happening. If I had the option to pick, I would have liked for Adesanya to wait, because competitively, it's a more entertaining fight as well too. Not just a trash talking, which is maybe up to par. Dricus and Adesanya talking trash prior almost might be just as good as Strickland and Adesanya, because there's a sense of Dricus has a chance. So I don't know. The more I think about that fight, the more I hate it. Speaking of Strickland and Adesanya, does he become the heel we needed? Speaking of Strickland, absolutely. Oh man, if he wins the title and says, Adesanya, I'm not going to give you a shot because you didn't give Pereira a shot or something like that. Or you said I don't keep score, I settle them. What if Strickland says that and just moves on from Adesanya, and Adesanya essentially never gets a shot at 185 again? where do things have happened? And they are the UFC or the WWE nowadays. Adesanya and Volk seem to be the only fighters who understand that they get more leverage when they fight as much as possible as champ. And Adesanya got all the leverage that he can that he wants. It seems like, right? Because as soon as he lost to Pereira, he got the shot. As soon as he beat Pereira, even though he's 1-3 against Pereira, he kind of said, "I don't keep score. I settle them." And Pereira should have got the shot, and that didn't happen. He calls the shots, and he could have had Dricus, and he goes, "I'm gonna fight Sean Strickland," and here we are today for UFC 293 in about a week and a half. I don't know if it was a UFC or Izzy, but I think they should have waited, says Gotcha Girl, for the Dricus fight. But hey, this is what we're getting. I honestly believe is this simplistic, Gotcha Girl. I believe the reason we're getting Strickland is Adesanya is because 2023 is about to end. We need another title fight. Dricus isn't ready. We're money hungry. We're a money hungry business. The UFC, and it goes back to my title, the UFC rankings, they don't matter. We're just going to milk this cow. And we're going to, I feel like I sound like 47 using a phrase like that. We're going to milk this cow and make as much money, even though this isn't the right fight to make. We should, theoretically, if we were to do right by the rankings and by the fighters, we should give Dricus enough time to heal up and fight Adesanya. But again, because they want to make as much money as we possibly can, we're making Sean Strickland and Adesanya fight, and the fans fall for it because it's going to be a good press conference, is what it comes down to. Should this be the way it is? I would argue absolutely not. Dricus should get the shot at the end of the day, and it's a little underwhelming that Sean Strickland is getting the shot. I almost wish that we could boycott this card. I think Izzy is looking at the Strickland fight like an easy check. Again, is it wrong for him to do so? I wouldn't say it's wrong for him to do so. It's almost like Kamaru Usman and Wonderboy. Kamaru Usman might want Wonderboy because that's an easy check, essentially, as compared to fighting someone like Shavkat, where that's a dog fight. And he's a former champ. He could kind of maybe pick and choose a little bit, maybe have some sort of leverage. Wonderboy needs a partner, a dance partner. So does Usman. But Usman maybe doesn't want to fight Shavkat and fights Wonderboy instead. I can see, again, easy money in a sense. He gets a guaranteed purse regardless, and he probably won't need to do much time. A couple, outside leg kicks, smack him with his chancla a little bit on his calf muscle, slow him down, knock him out. Is how I see the fight going. Come back again for maybe a February or March. If it goes that way, yeah, maybe he does fight, and maybe all is forgiven. Maybe he does fight Dricus December, or not Dricus. Maybe he does fight Strickland in about a week and a half, and then maybe he does fight Dricus right after that in early next year. Where do you rank 2023 so far compared to 2022? Better or worse? Let me look up on paper what exactly are those what have we gotten so far? That's a good question. Scheduled events. Can I just do past results? Let's see. We've gotten Sterling and O'Malley, we've seen the UFC do something they've never done before and put the whole round of the knockout. That was massive. Let me see if I could quickly glance over 2023 and then go back to 2022. We got Poirier versus Gaethje 2, the knockout. The BMF title was pretty nutty. That's another good one. I'm just scrolling through what I believe are the most critical and important fights. What else did we get? We got Nunes and Aldana was Did I miss any ones? Let's see. 291. What was 290? Volkanovski versus Rodriguez. It was good. 289. Nunes versus Aldana. What else did we get? Sterling versus Cejudo was cool. Pavlovich Blades. We got Pereira versus Adesanya too. And again, we gotta not let. We not got to be prisoners of the moment. That was April 8th. That was a decent amount of time, but that was a big deal when Adesanya beat Pereira. So you got Pereira, Adesanya, Gaethje, Poirier, O'Malley, Sterling. Some big fights. I'm going to have to go back to 20. Edwards versus Usman 3 as well. We got Jones versus Gane, which was a horrible first round finish because Gane sucks and has no grappling. Let's compare that, and Teixeira versus Hill was not too bad, even though they left Glover hanging and the fans left before the card was even over. And we got Makhachev versus Volkanovski, where Volkanovski, I think that's what made him the pound for pound best. Let's see what happened in 2022, which this is a little fun to go over. So what's better, 2023 or 2022 as far as pay-per-views? In 2022, we got Blachowicz versus Ankalaev. And remember, 2023 is not done yet, so for whatever that's worth. Adesanya versus Pereira, that's when Pereira got the knockout. Blachowicz versus Ankalaev was somewhat of a sleeper. Oliveira versus Makhachev, where Makhachev won the title. Let's see. I'm just going over the pay-per-views more than anything. That's the easiest way to go through this. Diaz versus Ferguson, which sucked. Usman versus Edwards 2, headshot dead. That was one of the biggest moments to me, and like one of the most surprising finishes in UFC history. What's a bigger surprising finish than Usman and Edwards 2? I would say that was even more surprising than O'Malley knocking out Sterling in the way that fight was going. Is that safe to say? So that's a big deal. We got Adesanya and Pereira 1. We got Usman versus Edwards 2. This is 2022. Let's see what else we have. Pena versus Nunes 2. Not the most exciting. Did I miss anything? That was 277, 276. Adesanya versus Cannonier, sleeper. 275. Glover Teixeira versus Prohaska was a crazy fight. In the way that finished in the closing like minute, right? It might have to be 2023. Oliveira versus Gaethje. Oliveira surprise. Damn, I don't know, man. That's damn. I wish I would have written all of these down. Oliveira versus Gaethje was a big deal. I guess this is when Oliveira kind of went on his run. What else am I missing? 271 Adesanya versus Whitaker 2. And Gano versus Gane was quite impressive. It's close to me. As far as surprisingly to me, Sarah GSP, yes, even though he avenged that loss, but yes, that's not a bad candidate. To me, I don't know if I'm holding this in too high of a regard. Edwards knocking out Usman was a pretty big deal, and Pereira knocking out Adesanya in the same year. But again, 2023 isn't over yet. Don Shop in the building. Welcome, my guy. Sean is a people's champ. Not only the people's champ, he's actually the champ in the bantamweight division. That was a good question, by the way. Hito. Nah, rankings don't matter. People want to pay for the most exciting or drama fights. I agree, Horizon. And I went on a little rant earlier in the stream where it's like, yeah, like the more I look at the rankings, it's a popularity contest. It's all it has become. I think that's safe to say. And is that shade towards the UFC? No, it's just the truth, right? Like, if you have a name, if you have a big enough name, you could be ranked number 12 and find yourself fighting for the number 1 contender spot, like Sean O'Malley versus Piotr Jan. If you don't have a name, you could be looming around number 1 through 5 for 5 years and still not get the title shot, or however long Bilal Muhammad's been on the in the welterweight division. And just kind of looming around the top 5. Does Shavkat have an opponent yet? Seems like people in the welterweight is ducking him. Maybe I'm wrong. You're probably right. That's why maybe Usman doesn't want Shavkat and he wants to fight Wonder Boy instead. Sean Strickland is a meathead. He sucks. Agreed that he does. Not that he sucks, but he's kind of a weirdo. I want to see him fight Paulo Costa, and I want to see the winner of that fight. Paulo Costa is another interesting one where there were rumors for that as well too. Let's see what he does next. I think Paulo Costa touched some money, and now he's not calling the shots, but he's kind of negotiating back and forth with the UFC, and I think he's okay with taking time off. He's like, all right, I got the secret juice selling. I become a star in Brazil. Probably. Who's a bigger name than Paulo Costa in Brazil besides Oliveira? Besides Oliveira, is Paulo Costa the biggest name in Brazil? Maybe a random topic of discussion thanks to a Horizon fan. Let me know. Shavkat is the most ducked. Chimaev left the division just so he wouldn't have to fight him, LOL. Says Beta Quest. What's up with Chimaev as well, too? I thought we were going to see Chimaev in December. Maybe fight Usman, and maybe we get that fight announced soon, but what the hell is going on with Chimaev? Chimaev has said he's been wanting to fight, and he's kind of been put on the shelf. Can't stop using that word today, Beta. Seeing Sean Strickland in UFC seems like an average 6'2", 220-pound human can join, says Horizon. Cough Bilal Muhammad, cough Benil Dariush, says Beta Quest. I mean, there you go, bro. Paul is in 294 versus Hamza. What do you mean, Hito? We can talk that UFC getting a cut of the businesses of fighters. That's another crazy one that I saw the article. We talked about it a little bit in chat, which is absolutely insane if that's the case. I think I have, let me play a little bit of this next. I think we have one more call. Let me see, but let me catch up with chat. We might save this for the next stream. We might have to save that. I think is not in regards to 2022, 2023. We can talk that UFC is getting a cut of the businesses of the fighters, which is ludicrous, man. That's another thing. If they're bro, are you under a rock? 294? Am I tripping? As far as signed? Oh, Paulo Costa. Oh, my, you put Paul, and I'm like, who are you talking about? I forgot that Costa was fighting Chimaev in October. You're right. I completely forgot, and that is confirmed under Oliveira versus Makhachev in October. Yeah, 2023 might overcome 2022. It has been a hell of a year. You're right. I completely forgot. We might have even talked about that in a Monday morning podcast, which is crazy. Chimaev literally told Usman, to sign a contract for 185, buddy. Is doing a lot of woofing, says Beta. Beta, you seen that class action lawsuit? Yes. Can someone put the link in the chat? Maybe we could look over it. But I talked through that, I think, in Discord with a couple guys. Chimaev talks like he wants to fight anyone, anytime, but it feels like he doesn't really keep that same energy behind closed doors. I don't know if Chimaev ever fights at I don't know if he ever fights at 170 again. With the debacle that he had on the scale being 6 to 7 pounds over on that Nate Diaz Ferguson card. Whether he just missed it on purpose. But he was kind of big for the welterweight division. If he stays in the middleweight division, there's some killers out there. And his style of trying to run through fighters and just take it straight to the canvas. Once he met someone like Gilbert Burns, and this is at 170, he struggled. Now you expect him to go up 15 pounds and try to do the same thing. Maybe the hype behind him is going to be coming to an end. Is that a fair assessment? Since we are talking about the things that are holding the fighters back, and they are using the star power argument for their need to get a cut of the business. That's I need to find the article for that, because for them to also take a cut, I guess I was reading through it a little bit, and it spoke a little bit about if they use if the fighter uses like the UFC and their likeness and any of their promoted businesses, then the UFC takes a cut. So I don't know exactly how it plays out. I would have to read it through all the way, but it is quite interesting that they're even considering taking a cut when fighters can't even wear their own sponsors on their trunks. Unfair business practices like the Boxing Club of New York back in the 1900s got blown up because of that. The mafia, the mob, and what was behind boxing practices in the early 1900s was just a complete travesty, Snipey. There's a good book on that. I think it's titled Boxing and the Mob. It's on Audible if you guys listen to Audible at all, but it's a good one. We've been live for an hour and 10 minutes. And as much as I would love to continue educating Hito, I've completely forgot about Costa and Chimaev. I can't believe that. I can't believe that I forgot about that fight. Maybe there's not that much hype behind it. I don't know. But as much as I would love to continue educating Hito, Snipey, Beta Quest, and company, a brother got to get some rest. There is work tomorrow. We have done 2 live streams, 2 shorts today, and we're going to keep working. Appreciate your guys' ongoing support. Be on the lookout for more shorts throughout the week. If you guys have any video ideas, maybe the unfair practice of the UFC maybe taking a cut of fighters' money, maybe that might be a good video to make. You guys give me some options. We'll keep cooking. We'll keep making content. My man Zelmay in the building coming through. What's good, bro? A brother has to get some well-needed shut-eye. Historical, another strong Monday morning that we went ham with the content. So thank you once again, chat. Let's see how you guys voted before I get out of here. Does the UFC rankings matter? The votes are 53% no. Still, people out there believe they do. 47% yes. I wonder who it was that voted yes. But that is quite interesting that I'm surprised it's that high, to be honest. So maybe they do still matter to some people. Guys, hit me up in Discord, Twitter, Instagram, all that. I'll put it once again before getting out of here. Did I miss something? And Discord. Here we go. And we'll keep the conversation going. #1 commentary channel on YouTube. I'll let you guys know if I do Cyril Gane versus Spivak this Saturday at 3 p.m. I'll let you guys know in Discord. Be on the lookout for more content. Keep on supporting, sharing videos. Helps the channel out immensely. Let's keep growing this channel. Closing in on 8,000 subscribers. Much love. God bless. Good night, guys. Ito and Beto don't know anything about boxing and MMA. Snipey knows a little bit. Peace. Wouldn't be surprised if he beats Chandler in some